Hello people, welcome. My name is V and today we're going to be looking at the new and improved Shulkerbox storage system. If you don't know yet, these kinds of machines will be able to store your items in any random order in Shulkerboxes, and you'll be able to use this search engine to look for any items that you might be needing in a very quick and easy fashion. I've been working on these kinds of machines for the past couple of years, and recently I've become so confident in them that I've started making tutorials on how to build them so you can enjoy them as well. And before we start building, I'm gonna give you a quick tutorial on how to actually use them in your survival worlds. And yeah, let's go to my survival world for that. Alright, so here we are in my survival world. As you can see, I've built the storage system in a cave near my house. And in here we have got all my items, all the items that I have in these shulker boxes. And what I recommend doing is using this as long-term storage, so items that you might use frequently, keep some of those just outside in a chest where you can easily grab them, because if you keep having to look for iron bars or something, it's gonna get pretty inefficient at some point. So just use this as long-term storage. Alright, let's actually try looking for something. Let's say andesite is pretty common. So it's gonna search for us in a couple of seconds. Alright, should be just about done. And there we go. Here we got a chest with andesite. And let's see. As you can see, it's found another one. That's because it looks through a couple more chests after finding the first one. That's because I can't shut down the system quick enough before it actually stops searching. So yeah, there's a chance that you might find multiple shulker boxes, but that's usually not that big of a problem. Okay, let's say we want to look for andesite again. There's a button for that. You can hit this button and it will look for andesite again. It's because the search item andesite is still in the system after you look for it, and it will only get out of the system and back into the menu once you look for a different item. So that's why you gotta use this button if you want to look for andesite again. As you can see, here we go, andesite, and just send them back into the system by using that button. And if you want to actually take the shulker box with you, you can press this button up here, and you can just mine the shulker box. It won't go into the hopper. Pick it up, take it with you, or you can just send it back into the system like so. And then we have a chance that that you might look for something that's not in the system, and there's not an automatic reset for that. So I'm going to show you what you got to do then. Let's see. I know there's no cooked chicken in this system, so let's drop a cooked chicken in here. Then the system is going to go through all of these shulker boxes, so I'll be right back. Alright, as you can see, the entire storage is empty, and the machine has stopped looking for anything, but the items are not coming back, and there's no chest here because there's no chicken in the system. So all these shulker boxes are somewhere down there in a holding area, and what you want to do to reset the system is click the look again button twice. So once and twice, and that should reset the system. As you can hear, this dropper elevator sending all the shulker boxes back into the storage system. Alright, there's one more thing I'd like to tell you, and that's about the menu system. As you can see, you can add items in here, but over here you can see there's this do not search item, and you don't have that over here. But you will see once I take an item out, there it is. So that's because I have an anti-backup system back there that will make sure that no items get stuck in the hoppers behind the chests. So you'll be able to see all the items that are in the that should be in the menu system, and it's pretty easy to use. As you can see, you can just drop stuff in here, and once the entire chest is full, let's say it just looks like this, you have added all these items in, and you still have this do not search thing. There's two ways you can fill in the last slot. You can either search for an item and it will automatically fill this one in. So I can just throw this stone slab on the search platform over there and it will fill it in. Or you can try and get back here and get the item hopper over there and throw it in there. That should also replace that item over there. And that's about it. So let's get to actually building this machine. I'll be right back. Alright, so before you start building, you're going to want to clear out an 11 by 10 by 10 area. And the floor is going to be 5 blocks from the ground. So 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 5th block is going to be a floor, so keep that in mind. And these are the resources that you're going to need. These are 3 dispensers and 37 droppers. And the rest is pretty self-explanatory, I think. Oh yeah, these are filler items. You're gonna want to name some random item that stacks to 64, just so you can use it as a filler item. And these are some banners that you're gonna want to use. Doesn't really matter if they're painted or named or anything, just use some banners for that. And I'm going to be making this video, which is a quick tutorial on how to actually build the entire machine in one go. And I'll also be making separate videos for all the different parts, and gonna explain any bugs and issues that you might be running into, and how to exactly build them in detail, and just my thought process behind everything. So yeah, if you're interested in that, or if you're running into issues, be sure to check out those videos. I'll be linking those in the description when they're done. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get to actually building. Alright, so basically step 0 is going to be building the facade. All you're going to need is 12 chests and 5 hoppers, along with the building materials that you're going to need for this part. So this is what you're going to build. I'll take a quick little walk around. You can see every single block that you're going to need to place from in here. You can use any kind of block that you want. So if you have a medieval village, you might want to use some different blocks than I used. You do need to make sure that this is open for a redstone lamp, that there is an opening here for an item elevator, and that these blocks over here are not full blocks. And that's about it. You do need to get the chests like this, and these chests go like this, and make sure that the floor is 5 blocks from the bottom of the hole that you dug, as I had told before with the dimension part. So yeah, that's about it for step 0, and let's move on to step 1. Alright, step 1 is going to be the anti-backup system. This is what you're going to need. This will make sure there's no items in the hoppers behind the chests, so you can search for every item that you have in the system. We're going to start off with 2 double chests like this, and a dropper facing upwards like that, and a dropper like that. Then we're going to have some hoppers like this, so you get like a circle, and add one more on top. Then a comparator like this, observer facing this way into a block with a sticky piston, redstone block, then hoppers facing into each other like that, with 3 of your filler item. Then you'll have an observer facing downwards into the chest, then one facing this way, then a comparator on top, another observer facing downwards, sticky piston, observer attached to it, then a block like this, another block with a repeater on 2 ticks, redstone dust into a block, and a redstone torch like this. Then we'll add 2 of the do not search item and 4 filler items. Make sure this is actually filler item. This one doesn't really matter as long as it stacks to 64. And that's the first part done. Then we'll move on to the second. Gonna make another circle like this, one more on top, another comparator facing this way, and then an observer facing upwards into a block with a piece of redstone there, sticky piston, redstone block, then underneath you'll have those two facing into each other with 3 items like this. Then we'll have an observer facing downwards with a comparator on top, sticky piston, then another observer, make sure there's one block in between, facing into a block with on top a repeater on 2 ticks, redstone dust on top of that, another block, and a redstone torch. Then we'll add our 2 do not search items, 4 fillers, and that should be done as well. Now let's test it. Make sure you add 1 more do not search inside the actual chest in each of those, and we'll test it by filling it up completely like so. This one as well. Alright, and we'll just drop a random item in each of these. And that should each have replaced that do not search item, and when you pick it up it should come back just like that. And that's the anti-backup system done. This is only the left part, just mirror it on this side and you should be good with part 1. And let's move on to part 2. Alright, next we have the engine. This is what's going to place and break the shulker boxes. This is what you're gonna need. Gonna move on over here. I have a dispenser like this and a hopper coming out of that chest, and a piston facing this way, a hopper facing this way, a comparator on subtract, and go down, piece of redstone dust, a repeater facing this way into a block, then go up like this, and some observers coming out of that hopper. Go up, piece of redstone dust, and encase it in some full blocks, and some glass on top, or just use full blocks if that's easier for you. Then we'll test it real quick. There we go. Let's move on to part 3. Alright, next we have the filter. This will check if a shulker box has your item in it. This is what you'll need. These are filler items. Let's move on over here. We'll have 2 hoppers coming out of here into that chest, then another hopper facing in this direction, 2 hoppers going down, and 2 more facing in this direction. Then you'll have a comparator coming out of this hopper, go up a block, 2 over there, redstone on top, then go down here and have an observer facing downwards like that. Then you'll have a redstone dust on top of that with a block above so it doesn't connect. Then go like this, slab over there, another block, 2 redstone, a repeater on 2 ticks, and a redstone torch to top it off. And then just fill in these filler items over here like so, and add 1 random item that you'll want to use in your system at some point. Make sure that you have a filter item in here already, and if all works well you should be able to throw that item in this dispenser and it should end up in here just like that. And if you really want to test it, have a shulker box with the item that you have in here and drop it in there, and it should end up down here with the item that you had in the shulker box right here and an empty shulker box right here. And if you would throw an empty shulker box or a shulker box with items that are not in this filter in here, those should be ending up in here, as I'll demonstrate right now. just an empty one. That should end up right here, as you can see. So that works fine. Let's move on to the next part. Alright, next we have the re-entry system. This will put the item you just took out of the shulker box back into it and then send the shulker box to the pickup station. And this is what you're gonna need. So let's go on over here. I'm gonna start with a piston right in the center of the floor right there. Then have a dispenser like this and a dropper like this. Then have two droppers facing upwards into these. And then we're gonna add some hoppers. Three like right there, just connected to that one. Then two like that, make a corner, go around like this and connect it to this one. Then we're gonna go over here, have three hoppers like that. Alright, now we're gonna go over here and we'll have a comparator like that. Go down, redstone dust, repeater on 2 ticks, into a block, piston, then an observer facing in this direction with a repeater like that, into a block with a piece of redstone dust like that, then have a block on top of this, a sticky piston, observer facing this way, a repeater, a block and another repeater, and then just fill in all the gaps with some glass or a full block or whatever. Just try to get all around it. Keep it as safe as possible. Make sure there's almost no chance there's ever gonna be a shulker box popping out of there. I don't think that should be an issue though, but there's no reason not to be safe there. And if this works correct, we should now be able to have a shulker box in there and an item coming in from over here. Let's say that one. And we should have a shulker box with the light blue stained glass, as you can see right here. So that works well. Let's move on to the next part. Alright, next we have the pickup station. This is what's going to place and break the shulker boxes so you can have easy access to the items or the shulker box if you want to take it with you. And this is what you're going to need. Let's move on over here. I'm going to start with a piston facing this way and a dispenser facing that way. Then we're going to go down here, have some sticky pistons like that, an observer facing upwards and an observer facing this way. This observer goes into this block, which goes into this repeater on 3 ticks, into a block with a redstone torch. Then we'll have some hoppers going down like this, 3. Then a hopper facing this way, with an observer coming out of it, then this way, and up to a piece of redstone dust, another observer facing this way into a block, and have a hopper on top of that. And that should be it for the pickup station. So if you want to test this, just get a shulker box, throw it in there. Oh right, of course you need the button over there. Click it, should place it, you can look into it, break it, and it should go down. And if you want to take it with you, you should be able to just break it. Let's see, yeah, just stays on there. The hopper over there is locked. So yeah, that's the pickup station. Let's move on to the next part. Alrighty, next we have the filter switcher, and as the name suggests, this will switch the filter you're using. This is what you're going to need, and this will also trigger the machine to start searching. So let's go on over here, have a dropper in there facing that hopper, then have 2 droppers facing upwards, and we're gonna have a hopper facing into the bottom dropper. an observer facing this way with a comparator on top, no block, piece of redstone dust, and a repeater on 2 ticks, another observer facing into this middle dropper, and an observer facing downwards like this. And let's do this and do that. Then a repeater on 4 ticks, a piece of redstone dust, dig that out, a sticky piston with a redstone block, and a hopper facing in that direction, and 2 hoppers facing in that direction. So that should work now. Let's see, there's still that redstone block over there. Now let's throw in the grass block. It should have switched out, and the redstone block should be down here as it is, and that is working great. So let's move on to the next part. Moving on to the next part, we have the on-off system. This is what you're going to need. And this is basically going to determine whether the machine is on or off, and it will reset it. So let's go to this observer over here and have a repeater on 4 ticks right there. Then a sticky piston facing this way with a redstone block and a piece of redstone dust right there. And then go around, sticky piston like this, 2 blocks with a piece of redstone dust and a repeater, and 2 more blocks with a repeater right there. Observer facing into the repeater, then a sticky piston facing that way and that way, a redstone block over there, and 2 pieces of redstone right there. Then real quick we're gonna add an observer right there. Stop right there. This is incorrect. This is actually supposed to be right there. So let's fix that real quick. Don't make this mistake. It's hard to fix. Alright, so now that's fixed, let's move on with the tutorial. Have some redstone running this way. Let's see, is that enough? Yes. Observer right there. Redstone right there. Add 2 more blocks. A repeater right there. And a redstone torch. And that should do it for the on-off system. So let's move on to the next part. Alright, so for the last big part we're gonna build the item elevators. This is what you're going to be needing. Let's start off right here by this hopper. And we're gonna go all the way up. Just like that. And do that 3 times with 1 block in between. Just like that. Then we're gonna go and get some building blocks. A comparator like that. Go up with some and go up again. Another piece of redstone. Go up again. Just like that. Keep going up all the way to the top, and that's the first one done. And the second one you're gonna put on subtract. Go up. Have 2 pieces of redstone right there. Block in between. Then go up 1 with the observer, then have 2 observers like that, go up another with the observer, then a piece of redstone, and then keep going up until you're at the top, just like that. And for the final one, put another one on subtract, go this way, 2 pieces of redstone. You don't have to put a block on that, but you can if you want to. And go up 2 and 2, just like over here. Piece of redstone, drop or an observer. Then you'll use a hopper instead of a piece of redstone, just so you don't interfere with this part. And go up 1 more, and another hopper, just like that. And you'll have a hopper facing in that direction, another one facing in that direction, and one facing in that direction. And down here we'll connect this one over there and this one over there. And that's the item elevators done. So let's move on to the last little parts. Alright, last but not least, we have some small pieces to take care of. These are just some quality of life features, and the hopper chains we haven't connected yet. We also need to do that. So this is what you're going to be needing for all of these. So let's start off with the reset button. That one's pretty important, I guess. So a redstone lamp with a button on top. Then an observer like that. And then go down 3 observers. Come out 2 more. Then a block right here. Sticky piston facing downwards. Another observer facing that way. Into a block. And let's have some hoppers right there. We need to connect those anyway. A repeater and a piece of redstone dust like that, and that's the reset button all hooked up. Now we want to be able to open this pickup station so you can get the shulkerbox out. Let's have a sticky piston right there, another sticky piston right there, observer facing that way, then a block right there. And we want to raise this because you will be able to see these blocks through the corner from the stairs down there. And add a piece of redstone dust right there and a button right here. Let's check that out. Works like a charm. Okay. Now for the final quality of life piece. This will be activating the pickup station when it finds something. So when it finds the chest, it will send a signal up here, and once the shulkerbox actually arrives here, it will activate this dispenser and shoot out the shulkerbox without you having to activate the pickup station to show it. So we're gonna come down here, have 1 observer like this, then all the way out have 4 repeaters on 4 ticks, then 1 observer like that, another 4 repeater or 3 repeaters like this, and an observer. Then we go up, I think 3, then a sticky piston and another observer, and that should just about do it. Yes, that's correct. Okay, and now finally we're just gonna have to connect all the hopper chains we haven't connected yet, so let's do that. Alright, so let's finish this up. Let's go ahead and finish this hopper chain. Gonna come down over here, and I just noticed that I can actually just go down here. I usually just go through this block and then go over there, but instead I can actually just go down there, and that's a lot cleaner. Then we are going to go to this corner block, put a piece of rail there, hopper minecart, and just encase it with some blocks. You don't have to do that, but for safety purposes I guess it couldn't hurt. And before we finish that one, we're gonna come down here, connect this over there, just like that, and then we will finish this one, piece of rail, encase this one as well, just like that, and that's the first one done, and then continue this hopper chain down here, and connect it to this hopper, and that's the second one done. Alright. So if you have any problems, you might want to move this hopper over here and just let it connect like that and raise this one back up. But I think this should just work just fine. Alright, let's connect this one together, nice and easy. And let's go up here. We've got this hopper to connect to this one right here. And this one is going to be connected to this one, just like that. And I think we're just about done. we only have to connect these hoppers together right here. I'm gonna start there and go around like this. Nice and easy. Go around like this and then up and just go along like this, and that's all done. Let's go ahead and check this real quick. Just checking my work. Yep, that looks about right. Okay, so that's all the hopper chains done, I'm pretty sure. Yep, looking good, looking good. Yep, okay. So let's get to testing and some last little touches. Alright, so now that we're done building, it's time to do some testing. And for that I've brought my testing boxes and my testing items. So we've got some empty boxes, some with redstone, some with sunflowers, and some with observers. So let's do our first test. Let's search for some observers. And there is our do not search item. That's very good. Pay attention to this extra shulkerbox right here, because as you will see in a minute, well, not a minute, it's pretty quick. Here are our observers, and that got changed back. That's all good. Send you back into the system. Another one, send you back into the system. As you can see, one of the shulkerboxes seems to be gone, but don't worry, it's right here. After searching, there will always be a shulkerbox stuck in the hopper right underneath your storage chests, so keep that in mind. Alright, so let's move on to our second test, looking for an item that is not in the system. And I just found out I made a mistake. As you may have seen somewhere along the tutorial, the on-off system, I had to make a little adjustment because I misplaced a block, and that's why we do testing. Alright, that went through all of these blocks, and I should be able to reset the system now. Oh, I might actually just go ahead and show you. Right here are all the shulkerboxes. Press it again, and it should reset the system. Because I misplaced that observer block, it wouldn't reset. So there we go, coming back. And as you can see, because we went through all of our chests, there is no shulkerbox in that hopper, which means our extra one is back into the actual storage. So yeah, that's about it for testing probably. I think it all looks good. And finally, I do want to show you a little tip, because this looks pretty bad when you're standing right there looking up. So you might want to fill this in with, this has to be a non-solid block. Fill this in just like that, and have a slab on top, so you can still open the shulkerbox, and that looks a lot better in my opinion. As you can see, it's all closed up back there now. And you could do the same with the chests over there. As you can see, there's a bit of openness there. I'd want to add like a slab or something on top of that. But that's about it for this machine, I think. I hope this video is helpful, and be sure to check out all those extra videos I did on every single part, just to maybe understand the machine a bit better. And if you have any problems, of course, you can check out those videos to troubleshoot. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you with the next tutorial.